I wanted to show how I fix spun motor bells. So basically, it's removing an E-clip and some washers and bushings, sliding the bell off the shaft, putting some of this Loctite retaining compound, and then reassembling, and then letting it sit for, I don't know, overnight. And it doesn't make it as good as new, but it's not bad, and it lasts a decent amount of time. So first, you're gonna wanna remove this tiny little black E-clip. I'll take a flathead screwdriver and you kind of put it in the little gap between the clip and the shaft, and then you just spin the screwdriver, right? And you kind of wedge it out of there. What you don't want to do is just reef on it and then fling it off out somewhere you'll never find it again. So basically, get it in that spot there. I like to put my finger where it's gonna fling off to catch it if it does do that, and then just twist and then kind of push towards your finger. If you're lucky, it'll slide off and you'll have a free E-clip. It'll slide off where you can just kind of catch it with your screwdriver or on your finger. And then as I'm disassembling these, I'll put the pieces kind of right to left so that when I reassemble it, I'll just go back left to right to assemble it in the correct order. So from there, once the E-clip is off, there's a bronze looking washer and then like a little plastic washer. I'll just take tweezers, gently just kind of get that off without flinging it off into nowhere. I'll set that next to the clip. And then the plastic bushing, which this one's not wanting to come up easy, so I'm just gonna leave it there. And then once that E-clip's off, you can just grab the base where the PCB is and just pull the bell down, separate them. Be a little bit tough because there's magnets. And then you want to be careful because sometimes there will be a washer and a bushing that will either stick to the windings or it'll be up top below the motor bell. So now that that's apart, I can also be careful and just kind of grab this and slide it off. Can't leave it there, but it might fall off when you're not looking. And then I'll put that next to the E-clip and the bronze washer. And as I reassemble this, put them on left to right, plastic bushing, brass bushing, and then E-clip to clip it together. So now this motor might be burnt out, but either way the shaft's spinning. So once you have the motor bell and shaft, you look underneath it where the magnets are, and it's the same thing as the bottom. You'll have a brass looking bushing and then a plastic bushing under that. And when the motor's already slipped, I'll just take it and put it kind of upright how it normally would and just press the bell down, which will free the shaft, which this one may not actually have been broken, but so then you'll kind of get it most of the way off, and you can either just kind of pull the shaft out completely or just leave it. And then again, you can leave the bushing and stuff there. It can fall off and get lost, but that's fine there. What I would do next, if I'm really trying to save the motor and do a good job, is I will take a Q-tip. Once the shaft is kind of slipped down from the bell, I'll take a Q-tip and some isopropanol and clean this off so that the retaining compound can get a better grip. And also kind of try and clean up the top of the bell. And ideally, you take the shaft out completely and scrub this down, because as you can see, I'm now getting that brass washer falling off. So I'll just grab that and I'll put it in a separate pile from these other three that go on the bottom. And the same thing, I'll put it from right to left. Brass washer oh god, plastic washer, which can be a pain because they'll fly off into nowhere. But now that they're off, I can clean that reasonably well. Again, I don't know how much this actually matters, but the retaining compound says to have a clean surface, so do with that what you will. So now that that's clean, I'll take this retaining compound. I'm supposed to shake it up first and just put the tiniest little drop right under the top E-clip. Something like that. So you kind of have a blob on there, and you want to have a Q-tip ready to clean that up. This stuff sets pretty quickly, where it'll basically kind of start to already bite. So you want to kind of press it down and have it seated pretty quickly. That's why I leave that top E-clip on, because what I'm going to do is hold it upside down, press down to seat the top of the bell onto that E-clip. And that seems like a good alignment to me. It seems like it's been working. It could be on a soft or a hard surface, doesn't really matter. Again, you want to get like one steady motion if you can, just pushing it down. And it'll stop once it hits that E-clip. So it can only go so far. Push that down, push it down kind of hard. It clicked. That's actually not fully seated. There it goes. Yeah, try not to do that. It doesn't it's not like super glue, it's not instantly setting, but it's good to not move it around too much once you get it kind of seated. So I'll just give that a quick wipe down at first. I'll take my cleaner Q-tip, just get off the excess. You can either let this sit as is and kind of just let it cure overnight. I think it takes 24 hours to like fully cure. Typically what I'll do is, if I'm doing a couple of these, I'll just do a bunch of them and then I'll come back and then reassemble them just to give it some time to like set a little bit. And basically it's just reassemble. And I have somehow lost one of the plastic washers. Probably got stuck to something, like my hand, and is now gone forever. So assembly is reverse of disassembly. So I'll take the plastic washer. You should just get it on my finger and then kind of push it on. And then you don't want to like really push on it too hard, because you don't want to push the shaft back through the bell and like loosen up the compound. If it just sticks at the bottom, that's fine. And then I'll get the little brass washer, do the same thing. Just kind of get it started. It'll probably get stuck on the little E-clip bridge. Then just take the windings, and then again, if you left that clip on there, be cognizant that it's still there and it could fall off if you brush it. But then you just kind of let that drop on. That'll kind of seat everything. If you want, you could do another like press down to make sure that shaft and the bell are still seated nicely, which you may be able to see. Take the reverse order again, the plastic washer. Just kind of get on your finger. Because it's kind of greasy, it'll stick. And then just push it on to the shaft. And again, kind of get those pushed on there either with tweezers or your nails or whatever. Kind of make sure that's seated. And now the tricky part with the E-clips, kind of the same thing. You can get it on your finger. I'm gonna get it just barely kind of on there. The best way I've found to get this, to kind of re-click this on there, is not with tweezers, because it's too fine and springy, and you will launch this thing across your house. So take like a big set of pliers, like these big needle nose, and you basically get one jaw on the back of the E-clip and one across from it, kind of touching the shaft. And if you're lucky, you can just kind of get it so it's somewhat parallel. Oh geez, and it shot off. And it is okay. So this happens. Luckily, this is magnetic, so you might be able to see It's actually on the bell. I get this knot 5 feet in the air so that when it falls, it doesn't bounce and fly off into nowhere. And if you can try and get it parallel, it may not. And again, sometimes it's good to like have your fingers surrounding it so that if it does fly off, hopefully you'll kind of catch it. And again, just try and gently squeeze it, and there it goes. Just clicks on. You can kind of give it a little bit of a push. Make sure it's fully seated and not gonna just walk off. But that's pretty much it. Let this sit for like a day before you put it back on. Because that compound takes a while to actually like fully set up to get as strong as it should be. That's pretty much it. Try not to lose too many of these stupid washers.